Hello, Sean Wolanin, Roberts Middle School principal, with my with our fourth quarter building report. Going to discuss things about our goals through intervention and enrichment. Each class section will increase quarterly assessment scores by 5% per quarter. Hard copies of math vertical collaboration, social studies, language arts, and discussions we had in science this quarter will be in our packet that you can go over. Goal number 2, PBIS will increase the number of students being recognized for positive behavior by 10% a quarter. Goal number 3, 100% of Roberts staff will incorporate science standards in their curriculum to ensure a 75% building passage rate on the OAA. With that goal, we're obviously eagerly awaiting our assessment data from the OAA taken end of April, early May. Goal number 4, RTI, professional development with regards to Marzana's 9 to ensure 100% implementation across the curriculum. That did continue. There's no hard copy coming to you of that, but teachers have been implementing them in the classrooms. Known this through my class walkthroughs, and the reports that I've asked teachers to discuss examples of Marzano strategies that they're using in classroom, and that's part of our monthly staff meetings that we use, or that we do. It's one of the things we do at every month staff meeting this year with the Marzano strategies. Whatever we were focusing on for the quarter, I had teachers use examples that they had in the classroom. PBIS, I will report on goal number 2, PBIS. There will be numbers attached in my report to you, and our big end of the year pause picnic occurred on Monday. We had the inflatables here. We had a good majority of the school attending that. It went very well with our PBIS and our pause committee team. Our STAN leadership group began to be established, involving 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. Of course, with our 8th graders going on to the high school, 7th, 6th, and 7th graders were part of that. We're calling it our leadership group, the STAN group, and efforts and plans to be made for a kickoff in August, and to have our first after-school activity, which we will focus on monthly with students in the STAN group, and any of our students can be a part of that. And that's our STAN group to become upstanders and to help us with this bullying issue that we have going on today in our schools. Do we have it going on? Yes, we do have it going on, but we are making every effort possible to make sure that we eliminate bullying in our schools, and our students feel safe and comfortable being here. I'm going to discuss our vertical collaboration meetings and the items that we discussed in that, and those, like I said, those will be attached. Okay, now I'm going to discuss some of the things that were discussed in our vertical collaboration meetings by all of our core subject areas. The items discussed were 6th grade algebra readiness test. The use of the data and the data from that was one thing. We we were sharing research-based best practices for teaching fractions and integers in our math department. Talked about progress book and a better way to enter grades. Every department discussed flipping their classroom, looking in their middle school classes, and looking at information and sharing information to do that. We discussed the technology we hope to incorporate in the classrooms for next year, and the push that we need to have for more data-driven instruction in our classrooms. A big discussion we had was formative assessment, and better use of formative assessment practices so that we can answer the 5 questions. In 6th grade math, we discussed the fact teaching and learning developed a new rubric for deciding future placement. Although it is not perfect, it did give teachers insight on the students' who are students' performance and their students' performance. The math teachers at Roberts had a vertical collaboration meeting where they discussed an item analysis of the algebra readiness test. I do have that as part of the packet, the item analysis for that. Enriched level students averaged a 62%, and 8 questions were discussed due to their difficulty. Less than 30% of the enriched students got them correct. The questions related to graphing equations and simplifying radicals, which are 2 areas that are not covered in the 6th grade. Students in a co-teaching classroom that had an average score of 42% on that algebra readiness test. When we noticed the average score on the placement tests was very low, Robert's 6th grade math teachers recommend a flow chart, and it is attached. It is also not perfect, however, it will save teachers many hours of work and still give the district the same amount of data. Okay, the summer algebra packet that was put together will be reviewed by Mr. Durbin early in the school year when students return, and he will then decide what we should do with that data and information as far as where students are and whether to give credit for that summer packet shortly after the school year begins. Recommendation was made to get rid of the 7th grade math and create a 2-year pre-algebra program for students that are in our lower level math classes, and that is the discussion that we need to continue to have and that we will continue to have this following year, and one of our things we will look into as far as our lower level students in the 7th and 8th grade having 2 years. First year, 7th grade, having that lower level first half of the pre-algebra, and then in 8th grade having that second half. I have not acquired data yet from the high school. I did inquire, and they are trying to track down for me. We are concerned about the number of students that go into the high school as freshmen and do not do well and fail algebra. So we are trying to come up with a better way of instruction, and the slight difference between 7th grade math in the book and 7th grade pre-algebra. There are just slight differences of teaching just basic formulas. So we are considering looking into that and continuing that discussion next year, and that is definitely something that we have to look at the standards, compare them, and come up with a plan that would work for our students. The other piece of data that I'll have is, which I've submitted for the first 3 quarters, is our acuity math data for students with our acuity math scores in 7th and 8th grade. Those will be attached with in the file for Roberts Middle School. Okay, in social studies, vertical collaboration, item analysis were completed comparing first, second, and third attempts of the common assessment. Copies were given to social studies teachers, and they went over this information. Final decisions regarding procedures for the social studies skills assessment for next year were discussed. We need to be able to collect and show data on each student and class. The social studies department will give the same assessment only twice a year next year, once at the start of the year prior to first vertical collaboration, and once at the end of the year prior to our last vertical collaboration. Implementation of the new social studies model curriculum, 8 characteristics, help, etc. The new literacy standards and the use of multimedia presentations were discussed. And those are things that were discussed at our vertical collaboration. Can we enter grades and progress book next year? That's something that all the departments looked at, and it's not an easy thing to do. But so many standards are involved in one lesson assignment, so it's not easy, but we hope to make improvements in that area. How does Flip Your Classroom look in middle school social studies class? Some classrooms have the technology, some don't. We're going to continue to look for ways to front load information and have students work at home to be ready for a more application style of class. What technology do we hope to incorporate in our classrooms next year? I know they talked about more multimedia and possibly home use of technology. The district's push for more data-driven instruction looks like what in social studies, what data are we using, will we be using, do we need to create. We will use our common social studies skills assessment twice a year, each year for a 3-year period. Data folders are included. We do data folders on every single one of our students. We will also use our unit common assessments that match Bullock's grade level teachers' common assessments. There's no data of common assessments for language arts attached to this. There's continued work with EdFocus to develop those maps of common assessments. There were talks about using a data-driven system with Acuity, but it's not. We do not know what form of data-driven assessments we will use, whether it be Acuity, language arts, or some other type of assessment system. But continued discussion in our language arts were of the standards and integration of social studies science into the language arts program, and teachers working together to help each other out with standards. Our science teachers did meet in vertical collaboration, and their discussion went over the data again from the science readiness test, placement test that was given to 8th graders. All those teachers discussed things that they were going to teach, the adjustments to the curriculum maps, and the adjustments to each grade level, and the type of assessments that they possibly could use and common assessments that they could possibly use to look at data and information and find out where students are at and where they need to be. Included in this video is some interviews that I had some 8th grade students do with some of our staff members, as far as in relation to where our building's at and where we are going, and also possibility you might see some students who were interviewed too and what they think of Roberts and where they'd like to see it going. 2 things that we've done is we did a student survey. We do not have the data back from that. We did that an online survey we tried to do it with all of our students here at Roberts to get that information back to our students, from our students to our staff, so we could use that at the beginning of the year for planning. And then also we've put a parent survey on our website to get feedback from our parents in order for ways for us to improve for the future. Some things that we'd like to see continue on in the future is definitely the collaboration time, more collaboration time with our colleagues over at Bullock. The discussion of being a district of schools or a school district, we need that time to get together with our colleagues over there and make sure that our schools are more in line and working with all of our students in Cuyahoga Falls to help them develop. The middle school philosophy is so key to what we do here at Roberts and attributes to a lot of our success, and that collaboration time that our teachers are using is very valuable. It gives us tools to use such as vertical collaboration. Our teachers have even done professional visits to other classrooms and shared that feedback of best teacher practices with each other. It allows us to help each other out, hold parent meetings, discuss data, discuss the needs of our students. One piece of information that is included in this packet is our students who have gone through the CAT IAT data. Students in CAT at Roberts this year were 14. Students remained in CAT and did not go on to the IAT process were 9 out of those 14. Students who came to the IAT from the CAT process were 5. Students who were tested from IAT were 3, and students who qualified for services were 3. So that information is also included in this quarterly packet. Also, the continued use of our PBIS system and the Tiger tickets and the recognition of students. Our stand group that will work a lot with Bullock's stand group and the high school stand group. And that's about it from Robert. So thank you for your time and have a great summer.
Hi, Mr. Parrish.
Hello.
We're videotaping some questions for the Board of Education. Would you like to answer some?
I'd be happy to.
One of the questions was, What did you think about the Tiger tickets and the PBIS this year?
I think the PBIS has been a great success, and using the Tiger tickets helps motivate the kids to behave more positively in the classroom. So I think it's been a success. I look forward to what I'll use the word tweaking it for the future. But yeah, it's been a good program overall.
Second question was, what were our successes and achievements in this building?
I think some of the successes and achievements are related to PBIS, which include a little bit better behavior throughout the school building in all grade levels, and because of a little bit better behavior throughout the school through all grade levels, that translated into better grades overall.
And what do you expect next year?
I expect continued success and improvement in every aspect. Grades, behavior, participation, everything.
Thank you.
From teachers, students, parents, and staff.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Have a good day.
Hey, you too.
Hey, Mr. McGovern.
Hello, how are you doing?
Good.
Good.
Can I ask you some questions about the Tiger tickets and the achievements of our school?
Certainly. You're Jack Sawyer, correct?
Correct.
I didn't teach you, but I know you because at Roberts Middle School, we all know each other. We're a big family here.
Yes.
Yes, you're in geometry now at the high school, correct?
Yeah.
Glad to hear that.
You're,
It's nice to see a middle schooler taking geometry.
The first question is about Tiger tickets.
Yes, I think Tiger Tickets have been an excellent addition to this school. It encourages our students to behave appropriately and then gives them rewards along the way for doing a good job.
Is there anything bad about Tiger tickets?
No, I don't see anything bad about it. It's good to focus in a positive manner on the students. Usually we focus on the negative side and giving demerits and sending kids to the office. So this is a great way to recognize the kids that are doing the right thing.
What are some achievements this year?
Well, we've used our team time to incorporate science across the curriculum because we've struggled on the 8th grade science OAAs. We've focused a great deal more on data analysis and collection. That's a big part of my job as the 6th grade team leader, and just overall improvements to the school to focus on getting back that excellent with distinction status that we had a few years ago.
Do you think there is any more improvements that could be done?
Absolutely, always. And once we think there aren't, then we need to get out of the profession. So we always have to focus on the little things we need to do each year to be a better school.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Hi, Caleb.
Hey.
I'm gonna ask you some questions about Tiger tickets
Okay.
in our school in general. For the Board of Education.
Okay.
So, what is the first thing that comes to mind when you think of Tiger tickets and advantages about it?
Well, we get rewards out of being good and doing what we're told. So.
Do you think it's fair?
It's fair because everyone has a fair chance of getting them.
What are some disadvantages?
Like when we opened up the Tiger ticket store, we only got to use it once, and I still had so many Tiger tickets left over, but I couldn't use all of them.
Another question that I was told to ask was the achievements that our school has and successes that has happened this year. What do you think?
I think bullying has gone down a lot.
I agree.
Because of all the assemblies and stuff that we've had. Oh, say good things now.
What else do you think about bullying?
I personally think it's wrong, and it really bothers me when people bully other people.
Do you think we could do more about it?
Yeah. I mean, I think we could stop.
Stand
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. I think
Stand
we
group.
need to have more people in our stand group because we don't really have a lot of people.
Thanks. Have a good day.
You too.